wanted the king's embrace. And if she got that seal of approval, that good housekeeping seal of approval, she would be able to monetize that. She would be able to use that to her advantage. And the palace was very smart on this one.
You know, when the Buckingham Palace day didn't work out for them on their last visit to meet with the king, we were supposed to shed a tear for them, Dan, but they actually wound up staying at the estate of Diana's brother.
47 minutes. After crossing thousands of miles with her children, Meghan walked back out with no photo, no public statement, no agreement, and not even the meeting many believed she expected. That short visit instantly sparked one question everywhere. What really happened behind those doors? But Megyn Kelly looked at the story from a completely different angle. She was not asking what happened inside. She wanted to know why Meghan was always going to leave empty-handed before the visit even began. Kelly didn't rely on palace insiders or anonymous briefings. She pointed to something far more revealing. She had met Meghan herself, interviewed her, and watched how she operated up close. To Kelly, Highgrove was not a family reunion that fell apart. It looked like a business strategy that never had a real chance. I don't think for 1 minute she wanted to meet the king to fix the family. It was a business decision. That changes the entire story. Today, we're breaking down why Kelly believes that, why the palace appeared to see it coming long before the gates opened, and why this visit may have been decided before it even started. If you want the full picture instead of just another headline, hit like and subscribe. We're looking at every layer, the reason behind the visit, what the palace reportedly did before the meeting, and the detail almost everyone else missed. Every major outlet covering Highgrove leaned on the same voices. Royal biographers, palace insiders, and longtime commentators.
What is the point of marrying a Prince of England if you're not going to get FaceTime with the head royal in the palace? And King Charles, it's always difficult. I think many people can relate to this.
King Charles has officially met Meghan, Harry, Archie, and Lily at Highgrove House, his Gloucestershire country residence.
Well, Meghan is furious because she hasn't done everything she wanted. When they knew they were going to come to the UK and London, she sent a list of what she wanted done,
offering familiar interpretations. That shaped much of the conversation. But one perspective stands apart. Megyn Kelly brings something different. An American, a former attorney, and a journalist known for high-pressure interviews, Kelly built her career by reading people directly instead of relying on intermediaries. She doesn't examine royal figures only from a distance. She's shared a room with Meghan, interviewed her more than once, and watched her firsthand. That's why Kelly's view of Highgrove stands out. She isn't offering a passing opinion. She's recognizing a pattern based on direct experience, something few British biographers discussing this visit can claim. Instead of asking whether the family could reconcile, Kelly asks a different question. What did Meghan actually hope to gain from this trip? And was Highgrove ever in a position to give it to her? For months before the trip, the warning signs were already falling into place. Once you connect them, Highgrove no longer looks like a family visit that simply went wrong. Instead, it looks like the final chapter of a much longer story that had been unfolding well before Meghan's car arrived in Gloucestershire. The palace appeared to be reading those same signals. Long before any meeting was arranged, it seemed to know exactly what it was willing to offer. The trip had a public explanation.
Did King Charles make a mistake inviting the Montecito Freak Show into Highgrove House? Because we did have confirmation on Friday that King Charles and Queen Camilla had met with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Now, there were no photographs, no TV cameras, and virtually no details. So what do we know about what happened behind the gates at Highgrove?
King Charles has met with Meghan Markle and his grandchildren, Archie and Lilibet, for the first time in 4 years. Taking place in the English countryside, Prince Harry and his father put their differences aside.
And what Kelly believed was a more important objective. The public focus was the countdown to the Invictus Games in Birmingham. The bigger prize was a photograph, not a peace deal or formal reconciliation, but one image of King Charles with Archie and Lilibet together for the first time in years, accompanied by a message about family and healing. That single image could have generated more attention for the Sussex brand than any documentary, podcast, interview, or product launch. It would have dominated headlines, reshaped the conversation overnight, and given as ever the kind of publicity no marketing campaign could easily create. Kelly, who interviewed Meghan several times over the years, called it the good housekeeping seal of approval. In her view, the photograph wasn't simply a family moment. It was an endorsement, and perhaps the most valuable thing Meghan could have taken away from Highgrove. The palace appeared to understand that value and declined to provide it. To understand why that decision mattered, you have to look at the challenges surrounding the Sussex brand. Netflix reportedly shifted its original reported $100 million agreement into a first-look arrangement, widely viewed as a reduced commitment. Spotify ended its partnership following well-publicized concerns about output. As ever, the lifestyle brand Meghan launched independently.
It's the royal reconciliation the world has been waiting for. The King and Queen, Harry and Meghan, and their children. The special moment, 4 years in the making, unfolding at Charles's private country residence.
Is they believe that Harry and Meghan were actually summoned, not so much invited. Now, I think that might be an interesting theory. This was a summit meeting.
When it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, saying that it is absolutely essential that they do have no future role in the British royal family. Force Prince William into a reunion that he doesn't want with Prince Harry. And that means if he doesn't go down that path, everyone can say, oh, he's the evil brother.
Took place at Highgrove House, according to Buckingham Palace. But it's interesting, we don't have any photographs.
No.
I wonder why that is.
I think that's very deliberate. I see this whole meeting less a family reunion and more of a test.
Reportedly saw website traffic decline by 33% over 4 months. By March 2026, Netflix had ended its As Ever partnership. Balenciaga announced 11 new ambassadors in February 2026, but Meghan was not included. A daytime Emmy nomination arrived for a Netflix show that had already been cancelled. Rather than signalling a major comeback, critics saw it as a small consolation. The larger pattern is what many observers focused on. Venture after venture followed a familiar cycle. Announcement, early excitement, then fading momentum. Netflix, Spotify, Balenciaga, As Ever. That's not bad luck. That's a structural problem. And the structure it always traces back to is the same one. From the very beginning, the Sussexes' biggest commercial opportunities were closely tied to their royal titles and their connection to the monarchy. Before the 2018 royal wedding, there was no reported $100 million Netflix deal, no Spotify partnership.
Of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles, but they're not going to be the only one. At Buckingham Palace, the spiritual home of the British monarchy, to the two most hated people connected to the British royal family, and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, is a mistake. And Clive Alderton knew it was a mistake.
He wanted one-to-one time with his father. He didn't get it the last time. Each and every time Harry has appeared, the Queen consort is there.
Prince Harry is so keen for his children to spend some time with their grandfather. We know that the King would love to spend some time with his grandchildren.
No major fashion house interest. The lifestyle brand with a royal connection would likely have attracted far less attention before the wedding. Every major opportunity, every headline, and every high-profile partnership followed the decision made in Windsor in May 2018. When that commercial value began to fade, Highgrove appeared to offer the quickest way to restore it. One carefully timed photograph could have reinforced the one thing every struggling venture seemed to be searching for: visible proof that the Sussex name still maintained a close connection to the British royal family. The palace appeared to understand that calculation. It had seen reports about the Netflix downgrade, Spotify's departure, the Balenciaga omission, and the challenges surrounding As Ever. It also understood what that photograph could mean for the Sussex brand, future business opportunities, and Meghan's commercial profile. So the answer appeared to be no. No photograph, no public statement. Even confirmation that the meeting had taken place was kept to a minimum. There was nothing easily shared, promoted, or built into a larger public narrative. A brand created to show independence from the monarchy appeared to return, seeking the value that only the monarchy could provide. The palace's response, according to this interpretation, was to leave with nothing that could be publicly leveraged. But that decision may not have started with the photograph itself. It arguably began even earlier, before anyone entered Highgrove, before the gates opened, and before those 47 minutes began. The first signal wasn't delivered through a spokesperson. It came through the choice of location. Reports claimed Meghan had submitted advance requests for Buckingham Palace, but those plans never materialized. Instead, the meeting took place at Highgrove. Many reports treated the venue as a simple logistical choice. Kelly focused on something different. The location wasn't just another detail. It was the opening move in a carefully managed sequence, and every possible address carried a different signal. The palace picked each one deliberately. An address can send a message long before anyone speaks. Buckingham Palace is more than a residence. It is the symbolic centre of the monarchy, and every arrival or departure there carries public significance. Simply being seen at those gates can shape headlines before a single word is spoken. Clarence House carries its own importance as a working royal residence, suggesting an ongoing connection to the royal institution. Highgrove sends a different message. It is King Charles's private home in Gloucestershire, separate from the ceremonial role of the monarchy. It lacks the official symbolism attached to Buckingham Palace or Clarence House. If the palace had wanted to signal a major step forward, the location alone could have done much of that work before any photograph was released. Instead, there were no arrival photographs, no departure images, and no warm public statement highlighting family unity. The palace's acknowledgement of the meeting remained brief and limited, providing only the minimum confirmation that it had taken place. According to this interpretation, Highgrove wasn't chosen simply because it was convenient. It reflected the kind of message the palace wanted to send: private, controlled, and not an indication that anything had fundamentally changed. Reports also noted that the visitors arrived through estate gates, while a Chanel luncheon was taking place on the grounds. There was no formal arrival, no waiting photographers, and no public moment that could easily circulate around the world. Rather than creating the impression of a major family reunion, the visit appeared carefully managed from beginning to end. At the same time, Prince Harry was in Birmingham attending the Invictus Games countdown event, playing pickleball and telling ITV that his family was proud of him. Two separate schedules unfolded in different cities on the same day. One event played out publicly in front of cameras. The other remained behind closed gates in Gloucestershire. Together, the location suggested which part of the trip the palace was comfortable recognizing publicly and which part it preferred to keep private, on its own terms and timetable. What was inside those gates made even that carefully chosen location feel generous. At first, the plan looked simple and easy to understand. Harry was expected to travel to Britain alone for the Invictus Games countdown event in Birmingham, marking 1 year until the 2027 competition. It was an official visit that allowed him to be in the UK without creating the impression that he was seeking a return to royal life. Meghan was expected to remain in Montecito. Reports indicated there were no approved security arrangements for her or the children, and no plans for them to travel. Then everything shifted. According to this interpretation, the change wasn't driven by emotion or family reconciliation. It reflected a changing commercial situation that had become much harder to manage from California. The Invictus Games, widely seen as Harry's most significant project outside the royal institution, was reportedly facing a funding shortfall of around £25 million. With less than a year before the Birmingham event, questions grew over whether enough momentum could be built in time. But that financial challenge was only one part of a much larger picture. Highgrove didn't happen in isolation. It became the most visible moment in what some commentators described as a broader effort to deal with several problems unfolding at once. Looking at the week surrounding the visit tells a story that extends beyond the meeting itself. Before arriving in London, reports claimed Harry stopped at Sir Elton John's home in the south of France. According to those reports, the visit centred on discussions about financial support for the Invictus Games as preparations continued. Elton John had long been one of the Sussex's most prominent supporters. He had publicly backed them and joined the same legal action against associated newspapers, a case that lasted for years before ending unsuccessfully. Reports later claimed the response Harry received during that meeting became one of the most talked about details of the story. According to those reports, the reply was direct: "I am not an ATM." The reported exchange came just 2 days before the Highgrove meeting, following the July 8th verdict in the privacy case against Associated Newspapers, the lawsuit Harry had pursued alongside John and 5 other claimants. The court's ruling landed with remarkable force. Across a 400-page judgment, 97 claims were dismissed. The judge concluded that the evidence presented was not sufficiently credible and found there was a legitimate possibility that the disputed information had been obtained through lawful means rather than unlawful methods. The financial consequences were significant. Reported legal costs for the opposing side ranged from £34 million to £50 million. Coverage also suggested insurers could question whether to cover all expenses because of the judge's comments about claims that should not have reached trial, raising the possibility that Harry could face substantial personal costs. The timeline caught attention. The court ruling came on Tuesday. Reports of the meeting in the south of France surfaced around the same period, and the Highgrove visit followed on Thursday. Viewed together, it looked less like a routine family visit with legal issues in the background, and more like a difficult week with several major events unfolding at once. According to this interpretation, the palace already understood the broader picture before the visit was arranged. Reports of the court defeat, questions surrounding Invictus funding, commercial challenges and other setbacks were all part of the backdrop. From that perspective, the palace appeared to know exactly where it intended to draw the line before the gates even opened. When Harry and Meghan arrived at Highgrove, each side may have understood the other's position. One was believed to be seeking something important, while the other had already decided the limits of what it was prepared to offer. We've looked at why Kelly believes the photograph carried enormous value, how the choice of location may have signaled the palace's approach, and why the timing of the visit attracted so much attention. Now comes the question many commentators focused on: what actually happened during the meeting, who was present, and what quiet decisions may have shaped the outcome. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, hit like and stay with us, because this is where the story takes another turn. The meeting lasted just 47 minutes. Considering the years of public disagreements, books, documentaries, legal disputes, and the long gap since the children had reportedly been with their grandfather, 47 minutes was surprisingly brief. From the moment the meeting began, reports described it as formal and carefully managed. Rather than an emotional reunion, it appeared more like 2 sides entering a discussion with clear expectations. No shared meal, no photographs. The conditions from the start were absolute. Complete silence followed the meeting. Nothing appeared on social media, no details leaked, and the palace offered only a brief confirmation that the meeting had taken place. It gave the impression that the structure of the encounter had been carefully determined long before the car reached the gates of Highgrove. Then came the detail that changes how many people interpreted the meeting. Queen Camilla was in the room from the very beginning. She wasn't waiting nearby or joining later. That matters because Camilla does not regularly stay at Highgrove. She has her own residence, Ray Mill House in Wiltshire, and is generally understood to spend much of her time there. Royal biographer Sally Bedell Smith described Camilla's role as similar to the one she reportedly held during Harry's private meeting with King Charles in February 2024. She was not presented as an active participant, but as a witness. According to that interpretation, her presence meant there was someone able to confirm what was said, what was not said, and what, if anything, was agreed. When a meeting between a father and son includes an official witness, it suggests the relationship has changed. Rather than a private family conversation built on trust, it appears to become a carefully managed discussion where accurate records matter. Reports indicated Harry entered the meeting first, while Meghan remained outside with the children. Whether intentional or not, that arrangement suggested the palace was prepared to meet Harry directly rather than receive Harry and Meghan together. To some observers, that detail reflected how the visit had been categorized from the start. King Charles also had the opportunity to see Archie and Lilibet. Kelly, drawing on her own reporting, has described the king as someone whose warmth can sometimes make him vulnerable to emotional appeals. Harry has known his father his entire life and understands him well. Bringing the children to Highgrove may have been viewed as an important part of the visit. According to Kelly's interpretation, Charles managed to respond as a grandfather while carefully protecting the institution's position at the same time. The warmth was real. The outcome was controlled. Both things were true across all 47 minutes. The tool he used required no confrontation, no difficult speech, no moment where the tension broke the surface. As Kelly noted from watching the royal family operate up close, nobody does it better. It's like cotton candy. Sometimes the strongest message is delivered without saying much at all. Charles didn't need to issue a direct refusal or deliver a speech about broken trust. He simply had to welcome his son as a grandfather, calmly and politely, without allowing the meeting to become a public confrontation. By opening the door just enough, he also removed any claim that he had completely shut Harry or the children out. At the same time, the meeting appeared to end without the commitments that some observers believed the Sussexes were hoping for. No public signal, no turning point, and nothing that could easily support a narrative of reconciliation. The most significant outcome of those 47 minutes was not an argument or a dramatic refusal. It was the absence of anything that could be turned into a public victory. As Kelly described it, the palace's approach was like cotton candy, gentle on the surface but carefully controlled underneath. When Meghan left Highgrove, that carefully managed outcome was all she had. The missing photograph drew the most attention, but it wasn't the only thing absent. There was no announcement about security arrangements, no Buckingham Palace stay, no public appearance with the king, no restoration of royal status, no agreement on future UK visits, and only a brief confirmation that the meeting had taken place. The palace gave the media very little to work with. Reports also noted that Meghan did not attend any public events during the UK visit. There were no engagements or appearances that might have tested whether public opinion had shifted since her previous visit. According to this interpretation, the trip ended without the public moment some expected. Around 50 miles away that same afternoon, William and Catherine were photographed at a charity polo event in Windsor, carrying out a public engagement. Their appearance stood in sharp contrast to the private meeting taking place at Highgrove. For some commentators, the comparison highlighted two very different situations. One side continuing established royal duties in public, the other seeking a moment that never became public. One side didn't need a photograph, while the other was widely believed to have benefited from one. The wall nobody is naming directly is the most important structural fact here. Charles meeting Harry means something as a father-son moment, but structurally it changes nothing, because the one person whose position actually determines the future of this situation wasn't at Highgrove, was not in Gloucestershire, made his position clear through his absence. The biggest obstacle may never have been King Charles at all. Reports have long suggested that Prince William has not spoken with his brother since Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in September 2022. By many accounts, William was not enthusiastic about the Highgrove meeting. From this perspective, Charles could agree to a private conversation, but that alone would not change the broader direction of the monarchy. William and Catherine have continued carrying out public duties with a steady, consistent approach over the years. Because of that, many royal commentators argue that a single 47-minute meeting at a private residence was never likely to reshape the institution's future. Another major setback had already arrived before the Highgrove visit. On July 8th, Harry's privacy case against Associated Newspapers ended with a lengthy judgment that dismissed 97 claims. The court concluded that the evidence presented was not sufficiently credible and that there was a possible lawful source for the disputed information. Reports estimated legal costs for the opposing side at between £34 million and £50 million, while questions remained over how much insurance, if any, would cover. With the ruling coming just 2 days before Highgrove, some commentators viewed the legal defeat and the family meeting as closely connected events during an exceptionally difficult week. Attention also turned to the financial pressures surrounding the Sussexes' California lifestyle. Commentators pointed to the costs of maintaining their Montecito home, private security, staff travel, and ongoing legal expenses, arguing that maintaining those commitments requires a substantial and reliable income. Yet some royal observers believe the financial issues are not the biggest long-term concern. They point instead to developments in the British Parliament, particularly discussion surrounding the Removal of Titles Bill introduced by MP Rachel Maskell. The legislation has not become law, and many private members' bills never do. Even so, the debate gained momentum after King Charles took action regarding Prince Andrew. According to many accounts, Charles is someone who generally avoids public confrontation, yet he acted anyway. The debate had shifted in a noticeable way. Increasingly, some commentators argued that royal titles are tied to ongoing responsibilities rather than being permanent recognition for past service. As discussion around the removal of titles bill continued, attention turned from whether such a move was possible to what circumstances, if any, could make it more likely. For the Sussexes, that conversation matters because much of their public identity is linked to their royal titles. Many observers believe those titles remain an important part of the Sussex brand and its connection to the royal family. Supporters of this view also point to King Charles's handling of Prince Andrew as evidence that he is willing to make difficult decisions when he believes the institution requires them, even if those choices involve close family members. Against that backdrop, some commentators interpreted the Highgrove meeting as an opportunity to reinforce a visible connection between the Sussexes and the monarchy. Instead, the visit ended without any public photographs, major announcements, or clear signs of a broader change in the relationship. Reports have also suggested that King Charles had not spent significant in-person time with Archie and Lilibet for several years. Many who know the king have described him as someone who values family deeply, making that separation personally meaningful. According to this interpretation, Charles managed to balance those personal feelings with his public responsibilities. He welcomed the family on a human level while carefully avoiding any action that could be seen as changing the institution's position. He showed up as a grandfather, gave the afternoon what it needed on a human level, and gave the institution away on nothing. Two things stood out from those 47 minutes more than anything else. There appeared to be genuine warmth, yet the overall outcome remained carefully controlled. What Archie and Lilibet thought about the visit is unknown. What has been widely reported is that their godfather, Tyler Perry, has been a more consistent presence in their lives than King Charles, whose contact with them has largely been described as limited over the years. Megyn Kelly pointed to another detail she believes explains the bigger picture. There is another grandfather in this story, Thomas Markle. Unlike King Charles, he has no royal title, no palace, and no institutional role. Kelly summed up her view in 4 words: because he doesn't wear a crown. In her opinion, that idea runs through every meeting, negotiation, and public moment connected to this story. According to that interpretation, Highgrove wasn't simply about family. It reflected the value some observers believe public connections to the monarchy can carry. The missing photograph, the carefully managed meeting, and the limited public acknowledgement all became part of that discussion. The palace didn't need a dramatic victory. It only needed to maintain its position. Looking ahead, 3 developments could shape where this story goes next. One is whether King Charles attends the Invictus Games, opening in Birmingham in 2027, something Harry has publicly described as meaningful. Another is the progress of the Removal of Titles Bill through Parliament. While it has not become law, some commentators believe the discussion surrounding it remains significant. Finally, attention will remain on Meghan's As Ever brand through the end of 2026. If the bill gains real momentum, questions about the long-term value of the Sussex brand could become even more prominent. The early 2026 numbers weren't pointing towards survival. If the brand manages to stabilize, it could gain valuable time and create a stronger foundation for whatever comes next. But if the reported inventory challenges, declining website traffic, and the end of the Netflix partnership continue moving in the same direction, the next chapter may not be driven by choice. It may be shaped by necessity instead. For more than 1,000 years, the British monarchy has faced wars, scandals, family disputes, political change, and relentless public scrutiny. Yet through every generation, one principle has remained remarkably consistent. Many royal historians argue that the institution survives because it rarely changes its fundamental nature to meet the immediate needs of one individual, no matter how famous, influential, or closely connected they may be. From that perspective, some commentators believe the outcome of the Highgrove meeting was never likely to be dramatically different. Megyn Kelly has argued that the visit appeared to be approached as a negotiation, while the institution itself has historically operated on its own timetable and according to its own rules. In that interpretation, the palace delivered its message without public confrontation, without a dramatic announcement, and without providing the photograph or symbolic moment many expected. Whether you agree with that analysis or not, one thing is clear: the discussion surrounding Harry and Meghan is far from over. Questions remain about their future projects, their public role, and how their relationship with the royal family may continue to evolve in the years ahead. Those answers will likely come through actions rather than headlines alone. The months ahead could prove especially important. Future public appearances, business updates, and official royal events will all be closely watched, with many people looking for clues about whether anything has truly changed behind the scenes. Every new development is likely to spark fresh debate, and every decision could shape the next chapter of this long-running story in ways that are difficult to predict today. So what do you think? Did the Highgrove meeting quietly change more than people realize, or did it simply confirm what was already obvious? Was it the beginning of a new chapter or the closing of an old one? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely enjoy reading your opinions, and some of the best conversations happen there after every video. Over the coming months, there will almost certainly be more developments surrounding the Invictus Games, the ongoing discussion about royal titles, and the future of Meghan's As Ever brand. Each new update could add another piece to this story, and we'll be here breaking it all down as it happens. As new reports emerge and more information becomes available, we'll continue separating confirmed developments from public commentary and examining how each new event fits into the bigger picture. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more detailed coverage of the latest royal news, don't forget to give this video a like, leave your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.